Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev.
Good morning.
Hello, hello.
How's everything?
Well, are you ready for my announcement?
Hey, wait, I gotta make sure I gotta like sit back, relax, and absorb the conversation that is about to happen.
I tell you, when you open up to the universe delivers. I tell you what, I'm on a ride, okay?
Woohoo.
So let me just start from June. How's that? Because I've shared this before. I've already shared this before. In June, I joined a 5-day writing challenge. And through that process, in those 5 days, we were to have a introduction or the first chapter of our book completed. With that, it was an entry into every day we had a task to do on those 5 days. Every day we had something to complete, whether it's our biography, a short description of our book. I mean, every day we had something, and every day this lady who was putting on this challenge, her name's Shanda Trofe, she would draw somebody as a winner for that day for completing the task.
Nice.
Well, with the introduction or first chapter being completed and completing all the tasks, she puts you in a drawing for a 1-hour coaching session with her. And she has her own publishing company. So she knows all the ins and outs about writing a book, right? From her perspective. I won that. Now, just like somebody who's an artist, who paints pictures, they could sit and just keep critiquing it, right? And keep messing with it. Whereas somebody from the outside could just look at it when they were done the first time and just think it's great, right? This is great. So an author is similar. We write, and then it's like, oh, I need to put this in. Oh, I need to change that. Oh, I got to do this, right? So I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I've not written a book or anything except in creative writing in high school. It's a little short story that the teacher compiled all our stories and put them in a book for us. So anyway, I got that. I won the 1-hour coaching session with Shanda. Through that, I did her 3-month writing program, and it was to set a goal to have your book done, or not the book done, but the first draft done in those 3 months. I felt I was rushed. There was a lot to unfold and a lot to go through, and I just felt rushed in doing it in 3 months. I am still working on it. I am less than, let's see, I'm around 1,500 words from being complete. In the meantime, so here's where it gets interesting. In the meantime, around October, a friend of mine who has already published a book has these connections with these different people. So let's just say I've already opened the door to writing a book.
Yes.
Okay. So once you open a door, the universe starts delivering, and it's up to us to follow that guidance. Also recognizing what resonates, right? Because there's stuff that comes at you and you're just like, that doesn't really feel good. But you know, when the universe is delivering something for you to start going down a path, So a friend of mine who has written a book, has it published, in connection with this whole different group of people that I'm not connected with, she sends me an email that has to do with being a speaker on platforms, meaning podcasts or summits, stages, right? And so it's connecting, it's a networking group of people where the people who have the podcasts, have the summits, have the stages to be a speaker on, introduce themselves and what the type of people they're looking for. And then the people like me who want to be a speaker, we get to introduce ourselves and the type of people that we like our niche, or niche, whichever you call it. And we get to introduce ourselves and what our talk title would be. And so then it's just networking. Through that, there was a program emailed to me. Okay. And so I signed up for it. It's where you get all these freebies. So I signed up. Well, one of them was come join my Facebook group. Okay. It's Epic Women. So I went and joined the Facebook group. Not very active in it. I get, I see the notifications and I go check it every once in a while. 2 weeks ago, today, no, actually it was 2.5 weeks ago. I saw there was a notification. I went in and I read it, and it says, hey, if you have a story to tell, contact me. So I did. I clicked on the link, scheduled a call 2 weeks ago. Today was our call. And now, mind you, I've already started my book. I was like 2,500 words from being done when I talked to this lady 2 weeks ago. And they want one story of 2,000 words. The book I am working on for myself is 40,000 words. And so, holy hell, right? I have this huge chunk of writing done. They just need 2,000 words. Most of what they need from me is already completed because of this book writing program I did. And I am in a book with 19 other women. It's called Overcoming Mediocrity, Limitless Women. And it is the 11th book in this series. And so once a year, they compile stories of about 20 women and then put it out into the world. And then from that, there's podcasts and all kinds of stuff, right? The direction. So anyway, there you have it. And this book will be released probably beginning of March.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
So
that is awesome.
It's a ride, because now you can take that book, that story, and create classes and workshops and stuff to not, to using the book. And so anybody who out there who has a book and or is thinking about creating a book or co-authoring a book, like using that book as a platform to create the classes, the workshops, the retreats, get out there as a speaker, get your story out. I didn't know this was going to happen. I'm like, I got to write this book, 40,000 words. Holy hell. Okay. And then to get it published and all the stuff that goes with that. So it's a lot more in depth to have an editor look at a 2,000 word story compared to a 40,000 word book. Right. So the doors open. I said, yes, the doors opened.
And that's how you get guided. And you're listening to the guidance. And the next thing, my mind is like, okay, so from here, now you're doing all this other things. You're getting recognition. People are seeing you and they're like, oh, I want to know what she did. Then your book pops out. You know what I mean? Just like that. So it's like, this is exactly how it was meant to be. And it's what we talked about last week. You could never foresee exactly how things were going to play out. But wow, that's pretty awesome. It really is.
Remember last week when we read our
12th month of our 12.
So let me read it again, just so as a reminder. The power of creativity, recognition for very high quality work, be a team player. And my word is dreams.
Yeah.
And when I went through the process of, so I'd already read this for the day, and read this in the morning. I read it. And then I had 2 weeks ago, I had the conversation with this lady about submitting my story. The next day, I read it again, and I was like, holy, because every time I read them, I don't know. I'm just opening up. I don't know what it means. And I'm just seeing what unfolds. And so I'm like, be a team, what's coming? Because I knew something was coming, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the masterminds. So I'm already in that group, in 2 groups of mastermind. So I had no idea what this meant.
Yeah.
And creativity, I'm in creativity every day with my business, right? So
Yeah.
my human mind is trying to dissect these words when the universe has choreographed this whole other scenario that I never would have, wasn't in my wheelhouse. It would have never been in my wheelhouse that this was going to happen.
No, and it's free advertisement,
Exactly.
which I find so awesome. We just don't, and that's just to remind everyone, we just don't know our journeys, but it's just to enjoy the journey. We don't, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. This is only your beginning. You're gonna, I mean, who knows where it's gonna go from here? And that's the thing. And not knowing and still having faith and moving forward every day and doing these things, even though we have those days that kind of drag us down, or that we're like, what the hell am I doing? Just keep going. Have your day that you don't know what the hell you're doing. That's all right, because it's going to be gone the next day or the next day. So it's just so awesome. It really is. And it makes me, I've been reading all this stuff about past life, these past life experiences. And this more I'm reading, and I'm like, man, this could help so many freaking people. But then it's like, oh, maybe I'm supposed to go do it. And it's like, wait a minute, slow your roll, woman. Don't try to control it, right? Enjoy the journey, because right now it's for me. This is just right now for me what it looks like. And who knows where it goes from there? Because I don't know. For all I know, I'm going to be given different information that can get someone to the same place without having to go through a 3-hour past life or regression. There's just so many other ways of looking at things. And but you are also displaying that. You're showing me right now that's exactly the way it is. And it's just so I'm enjoying the book. I'm reading this book by Brian Weiss, and it's freaking awesome. And it's not even what I would have expected it to be, but it's like, it's so amazing. But again, just like you said, it opens up so many doorways. So I'm not saying, oh, before I would have, how is this going to fit into my life? I am not doing that. I don't about, what I mean, whatever it was. And now I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. Let's see how where does this take me? What is this about? Because I just know this is the book I've sat down with, and I don't watch TV. Haven't watched any movies. I'm like reading this book because I love this book. I'm just going right through it. And that's kind of leading me into a passion. And that's the same thing for you, that it led you into a passion. And it's us following those passions, following that's the trail that we're getting every single day. We're getting and receiving. It's the same thing, but we're receiving information every single day of our guidance. I keep asking for guidance. I keep getting guidance. You know what I mean? It's always there, unless I have some of my days, maybe this weekend, there might've been a couple of moments that's like, I just wasn't feeling on the top of the planet, but we talked about that earlier. It's just part of a great healing process that's going on. But this is such an amazing trip. It is. And I feel like everybody can be on the same trip, and probably already is, whether they are having awareness to it or not.
Yeah, I know that I've played the on the path, off the path, on the path, off the path. I'd probably say millions of times. So divine guidance, and then I think I can do it better, or it needs to show up a certain way, or that having that particular vision, not opening up to allowing it to unfold in the way the universe has in mind. And so being divinely guided, and then veer off into, well, I know better, or there's another way to get there, or, oh, I need to read something more, or I need more education, I need more information, right? And so I'm going on this path, and I'm like, oh, nope, I got to do this over here, and get distracted. We've talked about that, being distracted. With this, it was do the 5-day challenge, sign up for the 3-month program, get connected to this. It's called Speakers Playhouse. Got connected to that. Through that, and what is the piece I forgot to add is, last month I signed up to be a speaker on a summit in March.
March again.
You're right. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but you know, I'm signing up. If I want to be a speaker, I gotta start getting out there. Then this book, and then the book's gonna be released. They were saying at the end of February, beginning of March. I think it's moving more towards March. Then that summit. And I'm just like, how freaking amazing is this, that this is just completely unfolding. The other thing that also came up for me was through the mastermind group I'm in, we have the opportunity to spend a 1-day intensive planning for our business. So Summit, signed up for Summit, signed up to do a story in a book, 1-day planning to launch this book, programs, classes, whatever's going to come out of this, having that help to do that, right? So help keeps showing up in so many different ways. The help, first of all, I knew it was time to write a book. I knew it. I've known this for at least 5 years. But the daunting task of writing a book, having it edited, you know, it's just a huge picture and a lot to do. I was just like, it's too much. The other thing is being vulnerable to the masses. So you overcoming that fear of judgment and criticism. And every author, every speaker is like, you can't please everybody. Somebody out there is going to say something about you. But you know what? That's their deal. And as long as I don't take it personal or, you know, give attention to it, it's on them. It's about them, not about me. So the help, I said, yes, I have a publishing company doing this program. I have a friend sending me an email. I have this group, this business that's saying, hey, come network with us to be a speaker. Right? It's just bam, bam, bam. And that's because I said, all right, it's time to write a book. The book's not even done. And even when I finish that first draft, I still need to go back through and read it again to do the, you know, my own revisions.
Yeah.
So, man.
But you'll get there a lot faster than you were going to. Now it's just because it's just kind of lit a fire under you even more.
Yeah. When you have help, it propels you quicker than when you try to figure it out yourself. Now, if I would have known that or felt comfortable with that information when I was in my 20s, my healing process may have taken a few years instead of 10. Right? So, but having the mindset that I'll figure it out, I got this, I'll do it. I don't want anybody in my business. I don't want anybody judging me or criticizing me for my story and all that I did. I was a closet healer, I guess. What do you want to call it? I got the books, I read them, I was doing my own internal work, not telling anybody about it. Whereas if I would have, you know, had opened up and invited help to assist me and guide me, it would have been a lot quicker and I would have felt supported. So we want that support.
But your words have changed too. You're not saying that I need help anymore. You're saying the help's showing up. The help is showing up. The help is, and it's like the more that it proves it to you, you're like, the help is like, it's really showing up. And it's like,
showing up.
But that's part of the process. That's for everybody. That's to be aware of the words that you're using because you're creating your reality every moment. And the thing is, it's like driving with the brakes on sometimes. You just like you said, well, oh no, I got to do this, or like you stepped in your way when you think you got to do something else. There's never a got to do anything else. It's just receiving the guidance and then going along with whatever that guidance is as you go. It's really so simple. It really is. And it's like you're displaying it right now. And as people be aware of your words. And if you're saying that you need to do something, you're constantly in a space of needing to do something, which means you will never accomplish it. It will never happen. It's a need. If it's a need, it's always out of your grasp. It feels like you might get close, but it just doesn't happen. And just by changing those words, what you have and then allowing that help. And it's not, when we don't allow help, it's not just not allowing help from the people around us, it's allowing help from your spiritual guidance, the creator of all that is, your angels, whatever it is. When you think I got this and I can do this all by myself, you're not just cutting off people, you're cutting off everything. Okay, go ahead and do it all by yourself. Feels like shit. I know that because I did it. Exactly. How is that working out? How come things haven't changed? How come you're still doing the same thing? I don't know. Yeah, until you start recognizing the things that are coming out of your mouth. You know, really, what are you giving your attention to?
But when we have the idea that we need help, we have the idea that we're broken.
Yeah.
Right. And I need fixed. And you know what? The stuff that quote unquote needs fixed wasn't me. It was my mindset.
Getting out of your way. Right? Stepping out of your way.
I looked at help, having help with something was a confirmation that I couldn't do it. So I'm not good enough. It just reiterated that I'm not good enough story. Where being really the past year and a half, being in mastermind groups is recognizing needing support. And I do say need, because I feel like now with the perspective I have, we do need support. We want support. We're humans. We need connection. And everybody has different perspectives and different ideas, and no different than somebody coming to me for coaching in healing their emotional, baggage from their past experiences, is that I can see it from a different perspective than they can. Right? Well, it's the same thing when you're in support groups or masterminds or just hanging out with your friend. Like, they can see things differently because they're not invested in the situation, or they've just had a lot more experience in that particular area of life. So it's when we have help, support, guidance, when we open up to that, it's an added value of getting it done quicker or sooner or easier. But like you said, when we create the resistance of I got this, I can do it myself. Good. That's a lot of time and energy on your part.
Yeah. But like you said before, we've talked about this before, that you've said, who are you hanging around with? What are the energies that you're hanging around with? And when you get into these mastermind groups, these are people that all want to achieve something. They all have a goal. They have a goal. They want to move forward. There's something that they're, goal oriented. And it doesn't mean, to me, it's not about money, because it's really not. If your focus is money, then you're going to miss the mark. It's just not going to align properly until you recognize it's not really about the money. There's so much something bigger than that, but you get money from being in these places, from being in this mindset. But if you're going to hang out with people all the time that are constantly in a struggle of life, then you're going to find yourself in a constant struggle of life. So it's like being around other people. That's what the mastermind groups help you do too, or your friends and everything else. You being choosy about who you're discussing with this stuff with, because you don't want someone to be like, oh, are you really sure you want to do that? Can you really do that? I don't know. Maybe you can't do that. And it's like, and if you do give that information to someone and you're still susceptible to what everybody thinks about you, now you just kind of shot yourself down. You're not getting yourself that uplifting back. And so to me, even when you were going through the healing by yourself, it was an inside job. A lot of that's an inside job for you to have an understanding so that you could share it with everybody else. So it's like, it was perfect. Everything was perfectly done the way it was supposed to be done. You're naturally a teacher. I've always known that about you. It's just natural for you. You may not understand why somebody else doesn't do something a certain way. Not saying that you do, but because it's so natural to you. It's so like, how can they not see that? I mean, like, how can they not realize that? But it's like, it's all right because because it's just, and the reason is because it's natural for you. So that's another awareness, being aware of what things. When you look at, I've had people be like, oh, I don't understand what their deal is. I mean, I walk out there and see what needs to be fixed and I get it fixed right away, because it's natural for you. That's natural. That's not natural for them, which would also guide me to maybe they're not in the place where they really ideally can flourish, because it's not their ideal space, or they would be doing it. Just like the student that's at college and struggling to pass tests on things that doesn't, there's no passion in it for them. They're just doing it so they can do the next thing, or they're just doing it so they have a degree, or, you know, whatever. But it's like following those passions. This passion's a huge thing. Being guided, being around people that, like you said, you were listening to all these businessmen or these business women that were talking about, you know, how things worked out for them, how they're making so much money now. And it's like, it wasn't about the money, but it was about, you hear the person that's talking, because I've listened to a lot of these speakers too. They're very positive, they're very uplifting, they're very well off, but that was like an after effect of everything. It wasn't like the goal, it was the after effect of it, was the abundance. Because they're, even when you're sharing knowledge, that's abundance. That's abundance that you're sharing with somebody else, that someone else has the opportunity to take. If you would have gone through this whole growth period and then not shared it with anybody, and Amy, you look so great, and like life is really working out for you. What are you doing? Oh, nothing. Then it's like you're no better than someone else. You know what I mean? That's just after money, or just after getting up to the next spot, or the recognition, or whatever. But it's not about that. It's about being in this place of loving yourself so much that you share all this growth. And it doesn't feel vulnerable. Initially it felt like a rough word, because that was like, because it was. And then
That's
in the beginning, exactly. It's like, yeah, like it's like waking up in your dream, or in your dream, and you're at school and you don't have no clothes on. It's like, son of a bitch, how did I get here like this?
Right.
But it's not like that. But it's just such an amazing path that gets to be shared with everybody else, and they get to be uplifted. That's abundance. I mean, that's prosperity. It comes in so many ways. And to be able to, it's just an awesome thing that people are going to be able to, go through your experience and be like, oh my God, I am not so fucked up. Not saying that anything that you were, or any of these people
I felt
were,
like I was.
but that's what I mean, because you felt like it at the time. And it doesn't mean that you were, because you were exactly where you were supposed to be at the time, in order to be the person that you are right now, to help other people that are still in this struggle, still in this place of not sure what to do. This is a beautiful time.
And I want to just mention too, that when you're talking about the speakers and teachers and authors and all that, they're very selective in the people they hang out with, or converse with, or share their dreams with, or celebrate with. There's women in the mastermind group that their families are not supportive. Now, this is a mastermind group about having a spiritual business. And we're very big on celebrating our wins. Okay, we accomplish something. If I sold a coaching package, I'd be like, got a coaching package, right? And I want to celebrate that. Then I would go into this group and celebrate that. There are women in there that their families are not supportive of them with what they do as far as their business goes. And to know that they can come into this group of women who are going to lift them up. And I think, we had this conversation several months back, is being in a group of women is huge for me, because that was not my MO when I was younger. I hung out with the guys. And so to be in a group of women who are encouraging you, supporting you, providing guidance, celebrating your wins, wanting to see you succeed, those are the type of people I want to associate with, because that's what's going to help me with my mindset to keep me focused and in the direction I'm going. That's why you and I have these conversations. That's why my circle of friends, like close friends, very, very small. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances, lots of family, but the people that I share my dreams, desires, and goals with is very small.
And I think that's awesome, because we're empaths. I think everybody can feel everything if they take the time to have an awareness of it. But when you're an empath like that, being in those mastermind groups are huge, because you're feeling more of uplifting, more goal oriented, more like just more positivity being in that space, and then discussing, for me even, it's like to go discuss something that you're thinking about doing to somebody it doesn't feel good anyways. It's like, why do I say some of the things that I say to somebody? Because I'm not going to, it's, first of all, it's not going to be received the way I would like it to be received, because it's going to come from the perspective. They're going to see it from a perspective of very limited. And it's like, it's honoring ourselves to step back, and it's all right to have those things, but we want to talk about it. But it's like, find yourself a mastermind group, find yourself, there's groups on Facebook, find yourself. And you don't, like you said, you went into that thing and you weren't even hardly in it. But you can also go into those groups and you can really scope them out. What have they been posting? What are the responses to things, and see if that's what you want to be in. But being in those spaces, even if you're at home, there's so many ways to get into those spaces. Reading books by people, really a lot of these books that are uplifting and stuff, these people have written, just like you're writing your book, have written it from a space of love and joy and, just feeling all these great emotions when they're putting that book out. And you get to feel that from that person being that empath. So I had heard, there's a speaker I listen to sometimes on YouTube, but she was talking about being an empath, and you can go into a room where there's a bunch of people that are in a negative space. And that's when you don't want to absorb the energies. That's when you make sure your vibration is super high, being aware of this. But when you're in a space, when you're with a bunch of spiritual people and everybody's in this great, glorious place, absorb as much as you can, really soak it up, really be in those moments. So it's really, we have an opportunity to pick and choose, first of all, where we're going to discuss our information, who we're going to hang out with. And those are choices. It doesn't, we've talked about family. And if a family member is uncomfortable, or, they're saying things if it's constantly negative or lower vibration, let's not even refer to it as negative, it just doesn't feel good to you. You don't have to spend time in that space. Find the space that feels better for you. And really, that's all that it is. That's just your guide to say, oh, okay, I'm going to just get back on the boat here and let it float me down a little bit further this way, and everything will be fine. I see all those people over there. They're laughing and having a good time. And you just go in and soak it up, enjoy it, be in that space. And that's where the creativity comes from. Everything flows to you, everything.
One of the things that stood out to me while you were talking is people. So the mastermind group of having a spiritual business, they get what it means to go through your healing. They get what it means to be vulnerable. They get what it means to step out and be exposed, right? They understand the emotions and the sensations and the roller coaster ride that is associated to taking that next step. Whereas Aunt Fran, I say, oh my gosh, I'm putting my story in a book. And she's like, oh, that's so good, sweetie. They don't have that excitement because they don't understand that transformation that you had to go through in order to be in a space to put a story out there into the world and have how many thousands or millions of people read it, right? They don't get that. So their level of excitement, when you're excited about something, when you're celebrating your wins, that's totally your responsibility of energy, because not everybody understands what the excitement means to you.
Yeah.
They just don't, especially if they're not in a space of healing or in a space of even understanding what the hell you do. Their level of excitement. So what could happen, I'm just sharing this information so that people are aware of it. What could happen is, I'm so excited. I've got this story in this book, and I'm so excited how it all unfolded and how all these doors are opening. And I could tell Bev, and she'd be like, oh, that's great. Good for you. Congratulations. Her level of energy and excitement isn't there. And then I go tell somebody else, and their level of energy and excitement is right. And so what happens to my energy if I allow it? My level of excitement and energy starts to come down. And that affects whatever it is I'm doing. It's going to affect the story. It's going to affect the sale of the book. It's going to affect the classes that I intend to come create. right? My energy is going to affect all of that. So this is where it's vital for myself in this process to maintain my level of excitement and my level of energy in this process.
Yeah, because what happens when you get to a lower vibrational energy? Then you start doubting yourself. You start thinking you're not good enough. What am I doing? Am I silly right now? Like, it's really important for you to maintain your own vibration. And that's something that's been a big thing for me too. Everyone's not going to get you. And then that's what I've realized for myself. Not everyone's going to get me. Not everybody understands me. Even if nobody understands me, I'm having an understanding, that this is my journey. And it's all you can do is keep following it and then see how it plays out for you. See how, and it's just, again, it's just following what feels good to you. You have to follow what feels good to you. Because I've done it too. I've done it so many times where I've played out like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm thinking about doing this. And then someone will respond just like you're just saying, oh, okay. Oh, well, that's great. That's good for you. And it's like, same thing happened.
Yep.
But that's being aware that was training for me, because if I'm still in my empath mind, now I just dip down into their energy from my space, and I'm no longer honoring myself. And I wouldn't know that if it hadn't happened. So it's not like it's a bad thing. It's just another way of saying you're learning a lot. Like, you're really growing a lot, and you're doing great. So it's, everyone, be easy on yourself. Just keep doing the things that you're doing. Find the groups, find the people that are uplifting. I found quite a few people on Facebook that I'm friends with now, that we have conversations with and stuff like that. But it's like, there's just, because it's uplifting.
Yeah.
It just is. And I just go by what feels good.
And it just really, not everybody's going to meet your level of energy and excitement. And this is what you have to understand and realize, because they're in their own space. They could be, so just examples, they could be in a space, I'm going to say envy, but really jealousy, that you have something to be excited about.
Yeah.
Based on where they're at in their life, they can't feel that level of excitement or even joy or just a little bit of glimpse of happiness because of whatever they're going through. And so their energy is already low based on their experiences in their life. Whereas they're looking at you in a way of, man, I wish that was me. Right. So it's learning also that other people's reactions to your wins, your joys, your excitements, your accomplishments, meeting your goals, that don't take it personal.
Exactly.
You can't take it personal, because you don't know what's going on within themselves to be where they're at, to say the things that they say to you, or to not share in that level of energy or excitement. They're just not there within themselves. Now, when you take it personal, now you have more healing to do. And that's okay too. Because that's just another layer of the onion, right? Another layer of healing that's showing up for you. So just being mindful of that everybody is in their own space. And sometimes that looks like envy or jealousy.
It's true. And then of course you feel it. I mean, you feel it being the empath, but it's like, you don't have to. Or even if you do feel it, as soon as you feel it, to just raise up higher, because then it gives them a space. Because I was there too. I was that person that was in that lower vibration. I wouldn't have understood. I'd have been like, oh, I wish I had that going on for me. But the thing is, we don't know what everybody's journey is. We don't know how they got from point A to point B. We just don't know. And that's why it's our journey. We're never going to understand, because it's someone else's journey. Ever.
Yep.
I mean, I say ever, but I think once we're in this, on the other side, or in the spiritual and non-physical, we actually probably have a better comprehension of a lot of that stuff.
For sure.
Just not to the capacity that we're at right now. So that makes it a little bit different. I feel like it makes it a little bit different. And this is our reality. We're creating our reality.
That's it. And in the mastermind group, so no different than us being right here, right now, or me being with a client in coaching session. We're all in different places with our life and with our journey. Some of them are where I was 5-10 years ago. And some of them are way more advanced than me. And so it's still a mix of people who are learning to grow together. And the people who are more advanced than I am in their business and have been doing it longer and have received a lot more prosperity, that they're a way shower. They've paved a path. Doesn't mean I need to take their path, but they've paved a path that says, this is what worked for me, and I can use their information or not. Where I'm at, I'm a way shower, and I've paved a path for people who are not as advanced as I am. And so it's not like we're all on the same playing field level. We're all on the same field, but we all are at different levels with our journey. So it's the same in a mastermind group as it is in any other support group. Support groups are people have been doing it longer than you. Some people have not been doing it as long as you. Some people have been doing it as long as you, but you're still not on the same level of healing. So it doesn't matter the group you're in. We're all carving a path, paving a path for others. It's a constant. And when you step on this journey, whether it's on a healing journey, whether you're a teacher or a speaker or an author, or you just are doing life day to day that just makes your heart sing, you're still a way shower for others, because they are watching you and they desire to feel good, they desire to feel accepted, and they desire to feel loved. And so by you being in that space with yourself, you're still being an example, whether you're working your 9-to-5 job or you're a famous speaker on a platform, you're being an example for others.
It's true. And for me, and once you get past all the jealousy and all that stuff, you recognize I want someone that's going to be a higher vibration than I'm at right now, because I want to evolve more. I don't want to stay the same. So it's like I always want someone to have a higher vibration to come in, because that's my teacher. That's my next teacher that's going to help me grow. So it's like, for me, that's just an awareness too. And I've been open for that. I've been asking for those to come in. And for right now, it seems like a lot of my teachers are coming in through books, which is fine. Or it's coming in through a YouTube, because they come in so many different ways, really, all the time.
Yep.
And it's just having an awareness. It's listening. And
there's so much free content available.
Oh, it is crazy to me. I mean, honestly, in this day and age, I don't even know. I don't know where I would be if we had this. I mean, I probably had been in a lot of trouble, because I was in a lot of trouble back then, but that might have been more trouble, because I was a child that, wanted to be seen. I wanted the attention, and I didn't even carrying that through into adulthood, wanting attention, but not wanting attention, but constantly wanting attention, needing this attention, because it was just how I was raised or how I grew up. Which takes me into so many other things. Like I was reading that book about Brian Weiss, and I don't remember the name of that book. I'd have to look it up, and then we could probably post it later on or something. But it just talks about, there's just so many people that have gone through like sexual abuse and abusive relationships and everything. And he's coming from a psychologist or psychiatrist way, where he's doing these past life regressions, and he's finding that let's go back. He stumbled into it on accident, but let's go back to when this first started, and it wasn't even in this lifetime, because he was trying to go back to childhood or whatever else. And it's like, then he started realizing that a lot of these people that have been abused by the same people in other lifetimes. It's just crazy how the things that have happened, and how the thing that was so positive to me about all this stuff is recognize that we can grow from it. We don't have to carry this stuff anymore. It doesn't have to be about a karmic thing. None of these things, even us, when we carry that stuff that that pain to come into another lifetime and still have that stuff, that to not, you know, you could dig all the time and try to figure out what's wrong, you know, what if you think something's wrong with you, and then it's from this lifetime, and it's probably from someone another lifetime that is not even relevant to this lifetime, but you carried that energy with you for whatever reason. I'm not really sure I understand the reasoning behind all that. Besides the fact that we're in a karmic, you know, we were karmic. A lot of things were karmic, but I feel like we're going into a space now that a lot of that karmic's being removed. All that stuff is being removed from each of us. So then we can flourish and be who we intended to be without all this baggage on us. So, and also knowing that when you have a person that's passed to the non-physical, that you go back and see, and they've been in your lives for like all these freaking times. It's like, it's, to me, it's like, that just takes away all the stress and the grief. And it's like, I'm going to see you again. I'm going to see all my family again that's already has left. But we'll probably be around together again. I'm going to be like, son of a bitch, you're here again. No, just kidding. I won't say that.
What didn't we learn the first 20 times?
That's right. But we're healing. And it's like, even he was saying, even in this healing time, when we're doing this stuff, even if someone is deceased or you know, whatever the situation is, it's like and we know this, but it's just confirmation, because this book's an older book too. But it's like, this healing's happening globally. It's like happening everywhere on all lifelines. Like, it's just going through all this stuff. And we don't realize, you talked about before too, about the ancestral healing. And it's a lot of that, but it's really a healing of us, because we are those ancestors. So it's just, there's so much amazing, to me, this is just so much amazing stuff. It's such a blessing to recognize these things. It just really makes me feel like that's where I feel like every time I think about like my family, or there's a few friends that have gone through some huge losses that they may not have an understanding yet, that such an understanding could come from these type of things. And I guess we just never know really how it's going to happen until we're open and ready for it. And so I'm like, okay, just like you, I'm open, I'm ready, show me. I'm going to keep reading the books or keep doing the things and not feel like it's, because it doesn't feel mundane, right? It doesn't feel like I'm doing the same thing again. I'm going to go on Facebook and kind of go through people and post a couple of posts, or there's nothing wrong with doing that. But if I'm in that mindset, then I'm not going out and posting it, just like you're sharing your book. I'm not going out and sharing that with a positive energy. So what kind of energy is it going to get?
Right. And when you talk about the past lives, that I just come back to the witch life of witches being condemned for their healing practices and their intuitive abilities. That's I feel is part of my journey, is healing that piece of vulnerability, exposure, that this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is what's helped me, believe it or not, right? And that's shifting the attitude of, believe it or not, if it doesn't work for you, then put the fucking book down, stop reading it, give it to somebody else, take it back to the store, get your money back, whatever, right? But the fact is that that's part of my healing. Like, that's part of my excitement, that I'm overcoming this idea that I can't be seen, because if I'm seen, then there's the judgments and criticisms, and I'm going to be burned at the stake, right? So that is a piece of my healing that is like so exciting to me, but people aren't going to get it. They don't get it. So I can't lean on anybody else to share in that excitement with me if they're not in that space of understanding.
But that's your experience, right?
Right.
And it's like, I know that, you know, we all have these gifts and stuff. So it's like, you start wondering, well, why aren't you using them? Well, a lot of it has to do with a lot of that stuff. And he's even talked about some of those people that had been, like, they would have problems with asthma in this lifetime. They would have problems, you know, just not being able to share and everything like that, or TMJ, or just all these different things, pains in the back of the neck, and finding they've been, you know, shot in the back of the neck in this lifetime by someone that they love very much in this lifetime, or have struggled with in this lifetime, or whatever. So it's just, there's so much fascination. And then they go back to that time frame, and it heals that space, and they recognize, because that was just someone else's perspective. And then you start recognizing all these different healings that are coming forward in this time space reality that we're in right now. Without even doing anything, people are going to start recognizing a lot of different things that they naturally have right now. we talk about this, and I keep talking about it because we are all evolving so quickly. There is such a huge shift that's happening right now. And that's why you couldn't have written the book 5 years ago, because it wasn't time.
Right.
Now it's time.
Right.
It's like
I
there's
just
just
got
so
the
many
chills.
things.
I'm getting the chills all over me as you're talking. And I'm not
That's
cold.
awesome.
Just saying.
That's awesome. It is, but it's true, because this is the place that we're at. And it's like, I was listening to a speaker this morning, and he was talking about the last couple of days might have felt like, to some people, like the end, like they didn't have any faith and all this stuff going on. And it's like, I totally get it, because it's like, it happens to me. I'll dip into those spaces. I'm like, how the fuck can I dip into this space that I'm in right now when I was feeling so freaking high and amazing? You know what I mean? And so it's like, but it's like he said, that's probably going to be the last of it. He says, we've gone through such a huge shift right now in the last couple of days that we probably many won't even comprehend it for years.
Yeah.
That it's been so huge. So again, it's being aware of what are you putting your attention on. So if you're listening to the news, you're advertising that you want more of that. You don't realize it. And I'm not saying it to you, but I'm saying it to everybody, that you are advertising, I want more of that. Stop listening to this stuff. Stop. There's so much. It's even like the speaker of Jason Estes. It's even like he said, there's so much good stuff going on in the world right now, but nobody hears about it because the media is talking about this other stuff, and they're trying to control all that stuff. Well, it's up to us. First of all, we're energy. We speak in languages that aren't even necessary. We can all start speaking telepathically anytime we decide that we're not going to do this anymore. No one can hinder your voice on any platform telepathically. They can't do it, because we're powerful beings, and it's just stepping into that power. And if you didn't step into that power, you wouldn't be giving everybody else an empowering step for them. It's huge.
People have power over you where you give the power.
Yes.
And so it's being responsible for your own power.
Yeah.
We all have a spiritual power. And that is our intuitive gifts, which is our spiritual GPS system. I mean, it's just like, it's one of those topics where it's like, where you're saying earlier, you just wish people would get it. Like, come on, you gotta get this, you gotta understand this. But what I feel like is that I hear more people on in a religious format speaking of intuition more,
Which is good.
and it's I feel like there are more people, even though, we've had a span of years where, it's not comfortable to talk about God in any public forum, that because that's been such a disconnection for so long, that the spiritual people are stepping up, being way showers, shining a light on a path that says, this feels better than what we've been doing. And it's a choice to either step on that path or not. But there's two avenues. Either it feels good or it doesn't feel good. It's an avenue of love or it's an avenue of fear. So choose your path and then tune into it. And I'd have to say, like, if we had the technology that we have today, and I have seen some of this recently, that if we had the technology we have today during the time of my dark days, I almost can guarantee you I probably wouldn't be here.
Oh, you're probably, yeah.
Right?
I can see that, yeah.
The access to that type of support is there also. And to recognize that I'm so thankful that I did choose this path of healing, that the technology wasn't available, and that I really feel strongly that I just have a very strong spirit. But I don't know how strong I would have been back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So it's this is, I think, why Bev and I talk about this all the time is if it doesn't feel good, you got to change something. And my whole thought process, this is what's gotten me through most everything, is I don't want to fucking come back and do it again. So I need to get through this lifetime. I got to get through this. Right? And understanding a different perspective, healing, whatever it is, because I sure the hell do not, because I do believe that we come back life after life. I do not want to come back and do this again. Not in this way. So if I gather all this information, I know I have it to bring forward. So that's a huge thing that's gotten me through this. Once I started having an understanding about having multiple lifetimes, that I was like, I had a good talk with myself in the mirror. I'm like, sister, you either get it this time or you got to come back and do it again. What do you want to do? Right? And I was still contemplating not staying on this earth, but I looked in that mirror and I was like, no, we're going to get this. We're going to get this. We're going to figure this shit out. And I don't have it all figured out, but I know what I figured out to help me to where I am and the direction I'm going. So
no, it's great. And to heal, you're healing all lifelines, because there's no past, present, or future. It's all happening right now, but you're healing all of it.
Yeah.
You're healing the karma. You're healing you just move forward differently. And that means to me that all of me is moving differently forward.
Yeah.
And that makes us much more powerful than we've ever been in our physical bodies.
Yeah. So there you have it, my friends.
Air 5.
5. So that is Tea Time with Amie and Bev for this week. Thank you so much for your time and energy. I hope our words brought value to you, provide some kind of benefit to your journey. If you want us to talk about something that we haven't talked about yet, then give us a shout out. You can connect with us through email. It's amieandbev@gmail.com. We post our podcasts on YouTube, Podcast Addict, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, and Facebook. So there's no excuse why you cannot connect with us.
That's right.
So any last words?
I say give yourself a big hug and tell yourself how much you love yourself, and then have a great week.
And find those people that you feel supported and celebrate with them.
Yes.
All right, my friends, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.